Hi everyone, it's Jen with Spirited Saturdays, and obviously I'm here with the wonderful Arielle of
Hi.
Yes, Wednesday Warriors, and we are combined spirited warriors today. That's what we are.
That's good.
And and so we are starting this is the first topic of our new rotation. And our rotation this month is about loss. So this week's topic, we're exploring just the basics of, what loss is, what loss means to you, to us, what that experience is like, and allowing that to just be, and appreciating that everybody's experience of that might be a little different. So we're just gonna kind of talk about, observing and experiencing and relating to each other, about loss, and maybe the different kinds of losses that might be going on, and how we might connect, over that, and the different elements of loss and aspects of loss. So, is there anything in particular that, well, I mean, this obviously our team has, we've all kind of experienced this communal loss, because Arielle has suffered a big loss in her life, and so we've all kind of joined forces a little bit about healing through that together, and supporting Arielle in the loss of her husband. So which she spoke about in her most recent video. So to kind of go forward along those lines, along other lines, is there anything that you want to talk about in terms of your experience of loss? Anything that you want the viewers to know about that, or anything that comes to mind?
Well, I think all kinds of loss are very different, but also have elements of similarity. So it's really important not to compare one loss to another loss. And obviously, for me, this is the biggest loss that I've ever had to deal with. And there's an element that's a little bit extra when I'm thinking about the loss of a person, because the loss was due to suicide, so it was completely unexpected, traumatic in different ways that sometimes death normally isn't. But there are all kinds of loss. You can lose a job, you can lose a home, you can lose a person, you can lose a role, you can lose all kinds of different things. You can lose your independence. So, I'm learning a lot from loss. And I know, I'm a social worker at a nursing home, and I know one of the things I talk with the residents about is loss of independence, and, or loss of a function, or loss of a body part. And I feel like I can connect with them on a deeper level, and I couldn't do that before I had such a big loss myself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's amazing insight to gain from that. And I agree. I think that no matter what we're experiencing, and no matter what kind of loss we're experiencing, we can always kind of find some connecting point. Like, maybe I don't know personally what it's like to experience one kind of loss, but maybe I can kind of draw from my experience and try to put myself in that situation in my head, kind of maybe like reframe something in my own life to maybe help me understand, or take a loss that I have experienced and just maybe kind of see that, I felt that way during that loss. What might that feel like times 100, and how can I, use empathy to relate, and to just be, be with the person who's experiencing a loss, and without assuming that I know exactly what it's like, without judging in any kind of a way, but just simply, being in the moment, and being present with the process. And I think that it's true. There are so many different kinds of loss, and so many feelings that accompany loss. And you could be sad, you could be angry, you could be You could be, hopeless, you could be despondent, you can even be happy at times. You can feel free or freer, or less free or more constrained. Like, there are just so many things that can go along with it, and none of it is wrong, and none of it is the wrong way to experience loss. And it's a very unique process for everyone, and it's all completely acceptable and understandable, and it's just important to be true to yourself and your process as you go through whatever it is that you have, as you go through the process of having lost whatever it is that you've lost.
Yeah, and you're talking about all the different feelings that you can have when you have a loss, and I was just thinking, I feel all of those things every day, and I also feel something different every single day. So, one day my day might be mostly hopeful, and the next day my day might be mostly sorrowful. And, it just you just kind of take each day as it comes, and you might feel completely different one morning than you do the next. You might feel one way when you wake up and a different way when you go to sleep at night, and you just kind of have to embrace all of it. And I think as long as you don't have any expectations and you just kind of embrace it as it comes, then you're able to move forward. If you have expectations and you don't meet them, or you think you should be at a certain place by a certain time and you're not there, then you just kind of set yourself up for feeling even more emotions, and then you're dealing with the emotions of how you think you should feel, plus all the emotions of the loss. And, that can be really hard. And loss is a big deal. And, we're talking about loss connecting people and, having empathy or trying to put yourself in someone's shoes, but even just connecting with people in general. Like, even if someone can't possibly understand what I might be going through, they're still so sad that their friend is hurting or their family member is hurting. And since someone is caring about me and is sad for what I might be dealing with, we're already connected on a deeper level than we were 2 months ago, when Rick was still alive. So it's just kind of like, like Jen sitting here, we're making a video about loss, and obviously we were very, very good friends before I had a loss, but now we have like a new layer of our friendship, and I feel like I have a new layer with a lot of people in my life, and it's a really good thing because you need a lot of support when you're dealing with any kind of loss. It doesn't have to be the death of a spouse or the death of any person, really. I mean, it can be anything.
Right. And I mean, and Arielle, has been there for me, and with other kinds of losses, just different kinds of things, not, comparing in any kind of a way, in terms of intensity of the loss or anything like that, but through hard times. And, even in those times, I felt like I got a chance to bond with her on a deeper level. And, it's almost like as a person who is in a supportive position and wants to be, it can be a real, like for me, it's been a real gift and a real honor to be witnessing and just going through some of this stuff with Arielle, and being in a position where we're close enough so that trust is there, and that safety is there, and that I'm just, the fact that I'm allowed in has felt like such an honor. And so yeah, I feel like it has, even though I don't know what it feels like, it's just like Arielle's saying, it's just the fact that I, have been there kind of to see the different, kinds of emotions, or have seen them through her blog. I feel like I've been let in, and really, that our connection has kind of elevated to another level. Because she's allowed herself to be as vulnerable as she is, and as honest as she is, and as present as she is with her feelings, and as willing to reach out and to express herself as she is. So, so I think that's amazing that you've been able to do that, and that you continue to do that, and I'm really proud of you.
Thank you.
So, yeah.
I mean, it is, you do feel vulnerable, and I think that's something else that makes loss really difficult for people, is the vulnerability, because you're going through something, and a lot of the time you're not really able to keep it to yourself 100% of the time. You can't help it. You might cry, you might look sad, you might be angrier, you might be going through something that you're displaying outwardly, and people are going to see it, they'll pick up on it, they'll notice it. I feel really lucky that I have kind of learned how to be vulnerable for so long that I can kind of put things out there in more of a public way than a lot of people feel free to do. So I'm still being very vulnerable on the blog or otherwise, or asking for support. I mean, it definitely, there's still that level of vulnerability, but I'm able to understand that it has a lot of value and kind of just embrace the vulnerability. And that's kind of what I would encourage people to do. Not necessarily go start a public blog and talk about your feelings of loss, but to just kind of embrace the vulnerability, because in being vulnerable, you can receive a lot of what you need. And, it's kind of like a give and take. Like, I guess I'm not exactly giving something, but I'm putting something out there, and then there's no expectation that I'm going to receive anything in return, but it just kind of happens, because the more vulnerable you are, the more real you appear to other people, even people who know you very, very well, and they're kind of seeing parts of you that you probably didn't used to show. And I mean, for me, and for, I would think, almost everyone who has dealt with any kind of a loss, you're not really ever the same. So obviously I'm still the same person in a lot of ways that I was before I had this loss, but I'm different now, and I'll never be able to be the person that I was before. So just knowing that people are going to embrace me being this new Arielle, then, that is a really vulnerable feeling to put yourself out there and be like, now I'm a new person. How will everyone receive me? And how will everyone deal with me? And, just trying not to worry about how they will or if they will, just being that new person, because you don't have a choice, you're new. And, seeing how everyone responds. It's kind of cool. It really is.
I mean, and it's being a new person in a new situation, in a new role, and at the same time, I think still, I mean, for you, I feel, you're just, you're Arielle. I mean, to me, it's like, and I feel like to a lot of people, you're just Arielle with heart of gold and just giving all this incredible advice, and, being selfless and being forthcoming and being the special person that you are. And it's like you're Arielle now with this new life experience that has changed you in a sense, or furthered your growth in some way, or allowed you to experience a new facet of yourself. And people will be understanding, and it's important, okay, we had a little bit of a technical difficulty, but we are back to just finish up a couple of thoughts and wrap up our video. But yeah, just like we've been saying, it's so important to allow yourself to be vulnerable, and allow yourself to reach out, and allow yourself to be heard, and to trust that when you put yourself out there to the people that you do trust and feel safe with, that you will get what you need if you ask for it. And don't feel bad about asking for it. And generally, people will want to help however they can. So, even if you just put out there like a general, like, this is how I'm feeling, just being heard, just being given to, it can really, really, really help in the moment, and and just strengthen the trust with that person. So anyways, we are going to wrap up. Thank you so much for doing this video together.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thanks for all your support, everyone.
Thank you. All right. See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.